Project 2026, what it is, what it aims to do, and why Americans are concerned. Over the past year, you may have heard growing discussion about something called Project 2026, a policy blueprint associated with the Heritage Foundation and allied conservative organizations. Supporters describe it as a plan to restore efficiency, accountability, and constitutional governance. Critics warn it represents one of the most sweeping efforts in modern history to reshape the federal government, executive power, and civil service. So what is Project 2026? What does it actually propose? And why are many Americans, regardless of party, concerned about its implications? Let's break it down clearly and factually. Project 2026 is widely understood as an updated governing framework designed to be implemented immediately following the 2025-2026 election cycle, particularly if Republicans control the White House and much of Congress. It builds on ideas first laid out in Project 2025, led by the Heritage Foundation, which involved over 900 pages of policy recommendations, input from dozens of conservative policy groups, a detailed plan for rapid executive action during the first year of a new administration. Project 2026 shifts the focus from planning to execution, aligning policy, staffing, and enforcement mechanisms across federal agencies. 1. Expanding executive authority. One of the central goals is to consolidate power within the executive branch, particularly the presidency. This includes reducing independence of federal agencies, centralizing rulemaking authority under the White House, limiting internal resistance from career civil servants. Supporters argue this is necessary to overcome bureaucratic obstruction. Critics argue it weakens checks and balances. 1. Reclassifying the federal workforce. A major component involves expanding Schedule F-style authority, allowing large numbers of career civil servants to be reclassified as political appointees, removed or replaced more easily, subject to ideological alignment tests. This could affect tens of thousands of federal employees across agencies like Department of Justice, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Health and Human Services. Restructuring federal agencies. Project 2026 also calls for dramatic restructuring or downsizing of certain agencies. Frequently mentioned targets include Department of Education, shifting authority to states, redefining eligible degrees and programs. EPA, reducing regulatory authority over climate and pollution, HHS and CDC, limiting public health emergency powers. DOJ, narrowing prosecutorial discretion. In education and labor policy, Project 2026 aligns with proposals to narrow what counts as a professional degree, limit federal student loan eligibility, tie funding to earnings outcomes, reduce federal involvement in workforce equity initiatives. Because many education, healthcare, and social service professions are women-dominated, analysts warn this could have disproportionate impacts on women in the workforce, especially in teaching, counseling, social work, and public health. 1. Speed and scope. One of the biggest concerns isn't just what is proposed, but how fast it could be implemented. Project 2026 emphasizes Day 1 executive orders, immediate agency leadership changes, rapid regulatory rollbacks. This raises fears that public debate, congressional oversight, and judicial review could be sidelined. 1. Democratic accountability. Many legal scholars warn that concentrating power in the executive branch risks weakening independent institutions, politicizing enforcement of laws, reducing transparency, and whistleblower protections. This concerns Americans across parties who value institutional stability, even when administrations change. 1. Uneven impact on states and citizens. Returning authority to states can sound appealing, but critics argue it may lead to wide disparities in education quality, unequal access to healthcare and benefits, conflicting civil rights protections, Where you live could increasingly determine your rights and opportunities. Supporters' perspective. It's important to understand why Project 2026 has strong supporters. They argue, federal agencies have become unaccountable. Career bureaucracies override elected leadership. Centralized power is needed to reverse decades of regulatory growth. From this view, Project 2026 is framed as a restoration, not a revolution. The bigger picture. What happens next? Whether Project 2026 becomes reality depends on election outcomes, congressional control court challenges, public awareness and response. What's clear is that this is one of the most ambitious governing blueprints in modern U.S. history, with consequences that would extend far beyond one administration. Why staying informed matters. Regardless of political affiliation, Project 2026 raises fundamental questions. How much power should the executive branch hold? What role should career civil servants play? How do we balance efficiency with democratic safeguards? These are questions that affect every American, not just policymakers. Project 2026 isn't just a policy document. It's a vision for how government should function, who controls it, and how power is exercised. Understanding it is essential for informed citizenship. Because in a democracy, the most important check on power isn't ideology, it's awareness.